Welcome once again to Questions with Leon Hunter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chocolate Pain Nelson Rahi. This is Questions with Weird Fusion Pro Wrestling. Let me please introduce to you the sensational Sam Owen.
Hello.
Hello, Sam. You are back. And we've got the only flipping Owen Roberts.
The only. Hello, Nelson Rahi. How are you?
Hello. Not too bad, sir. So, without further ado, let's bring in the legend that is. He was 16-0 in his MMA record. He's the former Takedown Fight Club heavyweight champion and former UKKA heavyweight tournament winner in 2016. At a height of 6'4", 18 stone 2 inches from Bangor, Wales. He's the master of the Hunter's Trap. He's athletic royalty, Leon Hunter. Leon, how you doing, sir?
Yo, guys, how you doing? I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic to have you on.
Big boy.
I'm here and I'm feeling ready for some questions. And looking forward to talking to some of my friends. Despite it being locked down, we make it work.
Absolutely, we do. So, guys, we have been inundated with questions for Leon Hunter. Sam, what do you reckon? Do you want to get us started?
Of course. So, Leon, we've got Chris from Bangor, hometown Chris. What made you want to get into wrestling?
Well, I've just always loved it. I've grown up with it. The first time I was ever exposed to it was at my cousin's playing SmackDown versus Raw 2006.
Amazing.
And, fantastic game. And I remember I always wanted to be Rey Mysterio, but my cousin did as well, so I played as the Boogeyman because I thought he had a mask on. And I've just always kind of been into it since then. And people always ask, what's the first match you watched? But I just remember it had Undertaker on it, and it was a SmackDown Big Fist. And that's all I remember.
That's all you need, isn't it? Undertaker.
Yeah, the Big Fist and Undertaker. And so that's kind of where it all started. And just over the years, you know, my fondness and my curiosity kind of took over, especially as I was going undefeated in mixed martial arts and I wanted to try something new. And locally, there was Fusion Pro, and it was new. And it was funny because actually 2 years beforehand, I had messaged the CCW email asking if there was any training facilities, and then it turned, and then I had no clue that Fusion Pro was related to CCW until I got there and found out. So
wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got into wrestling, and it's quite a good story, really, though.
Yeah,
Wholesome.
Yeah, very, very wholesome with you know, not only from your upbringing, you know, playing the WWE games, but it's almost shaped you into who you are now as well, you know, wrestling in general. And as Nelly proudly states, you know, your marvelous MMA record, you know, you must have gone through some rigorous training to be able to get that good. But it begs the question, why would you leave something that you're clearly comfortable and well-versed in to dip your toes into something, you know, new and exciting? Because obviously, yeah, there's wrestling game in MMA, but not quite like this. This is a whole new kettle of fish. You know,
well,
what made you?
It's totally different. You know, you see in the MMA world, there's nowhere near as many vibrant characters and things. You know, all these crazy people that you end up finding in wrestling. You know, like in mixed martial arts, I've never had to face off against a 7 foot tall dude with scary face paint on, for example, or a pastor. But you know, these are the beautiful things that we find within wrestling. Maybe a more relaxed board, and I really wanted to find a new challenge. You know, you said why switch up to something new and exciting, and I think you answered it yourself, really.
Excellent. So, I mean, obviously you're dawning in the new MMA, so, you know, modern day mixed martial arts. Obviously, in the birth of or the original mixed martial arts, you would get those zany, wacky characters. You know, you look at the first ever UFCs, the different types of fighting styles, obviously now refined into, you know, set schools almost, where people would follow only maybe 2 or 3 techniques and, you know, training, so boxing or maybe you know, BJJ, etc. But now you've dived into a world now where it's back to how it used to be. You know,
well, maybe it's a part of me that is a little traditionalist. You know, I have been in martial arts my whole life since about 2004, I believe. So really my whole life, and I've always seen these characters around. I remember my first ever sensei, John Lynn. He cracked 2 bricks in half, 2 cinder blocks with a hammer fist. So
Wow.
you know, we talk about characters in wrestling, but characters in martial arts do exist, and they are bigger than life. And he used to say you have to catch the brick in surprise, like you have to catch it, not expecting your strike, which doesn't make sense because it's not a sentient being. But you know, it made sense to him, I guess. And these are the characters that we find in wrestling today as well. So you know, it might be part of that kind of traditional side, part of the nostalgia of being within it. But you know, ever since I've started it, I've loved it. You know, you wouldn't see me there if I didn't love it, and I'm very happy that I made the transition.
Cool. So, like, as Owen's just touched on, obviously you train really hard in MMA, and you've got to prepare for all these, you know, different techniques and strikes. But you've not been wrestling, you know, was it 2-3 years?
Barely even inching 2, I believe, and you know, with lockdown as well, that's kind of not.
Yeah. So on that, what do you find more challenging? Did you find the MMA training or the wrestling part of it?
Well, in one of them, I'm undefeated. In the other, I've beaten Mr. Chi. So I guess we can figure that one out.
Mr. Chi's a legend.
He's surprisingly tough, isn't he, Mr. Chi?
Yeah, well. So his kick definitely was.
I mean, delving deeper onto, so this question is from Andy from Wrexham, you know, asking what was more challenging. But obviously, both have got their difficulties, and as we've said before,
yeah, you know what
immense
I'll
record.
say. What I will say is, one thing I don't miss is the weight cuts, 100%. You know, coming into wrestling, you can practically fight at any weight, and then you can go catch weight against anyone. You know, I could step into a ring with Alfie Brooks, Chaos, any of these people who are clearly lighter than me. You know, maybe Jay Shelley.
We have actually seen it with. You know, as you mentioned, Creeper, and obviously your associate
Harley Hudson. Yeah, of course. So
anyone.
So I won't miss the weight cuts. You know, I feel like in wrestling, I fight a much more natural weight for myself, and it allows me to be more agile and kind of flow a bit better in my matches. And you know, but I might still be trying to find my style that translates properly over to the squared circle. But there are more challenging parts of MMA, absolutely. Some of the camps and some of the weight cuts and some of the diets that you have to take on aren't the best now.
Interesting.
But not only that, I mean, you don't get hit by steel chairs or thrown through tables in MMA. So, I mean, there is that, isn't there? So.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
So moving on, we've had a question from Little Noah in Llandudno, and he's asking, you know, we've heard from your influence of getting into wrestling, but he wants to know who your favorite wrestlers are today. You mentioned you know, you like the Rey Mysterio and eventually the Boogeyman, but currently today, who's your favorite
well, that was when I was much younger. You know, that was before I'd actually seen any actual wrestling. It was just who I thought looked like Power Rangers, I guess, in the game. But you know, at the moment, I take a lot of inspiration from people like Samoa Joe, Aleister Black, Brock Lesnar, obviously. You know, I feel extremely inspired as someone at my kind of size and weight with the new transition of more athletic guys.
People that have dabbled in the MMA.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of people like you know, Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen, whatever you want to call him. You know, lots of people, Keith Lee, you know, lots of people who are of a bigger stature who can pull off athletic things like I know I can, have really kind of opened a door for talents like myself, I guess.
I have to say, I mean, you mentioned Brock Lesnar there, and I can sort of see similarities in the way that you sort of approach matches. Because some of your strikes, it must just come from your MMA background, obviously. But
yeah, there's I think one thing that me and Brock Lesnar share in our styles is efficiency, where it's get the most damage in every move, get like as little wasted movement as possible.
I'd say the athleticism as well, because you wouldn't think someone like Lesnar or someone like yourself would be able to move the way that you do, and really you've got no right to move the way you do. So I mean, it's pretty.
You've got no right, Leon Hunter.
Yes, how dare you? Stop it! Stop being so athletic. But that is why they call it athletic rules.
Nelson's just jealous. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I could barely walk down the street anymore. So, yeah, I'd love to be able to do some of the stuff you do. But yeah, no, it's great.
Nelson said he could outrun you.
Nelson said he could outrun me.
Yeah.
Depends if there's a
Yeah.
kebab at the bottom of the road.
It does depend what's at the end, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a Mars bar down there, I'll beat anyone.
Well,
It's
Mars
interesting.
bars aren't the best chocolates, though.
No, they're not, but they are chocolate. They come under that umbrella that gets the love from Chocolate Pain.
Chocolate Pain, Nelson Rahi.
But anyway, we're
We
getting
need a
completely
chocolate
off
tier
base.
list soon.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
I'll provide you with
It's,
that.
Well, maybe we'll all come back and organise a chocolate tier list at some point.
It's interesting you mentioned Brock Lesnar, because Amy from Llandudno has asked, if you could face any wrestler from history, who would it be?
Any wrestler from history?
Anyone.
Oh, that's tough. Probably like Hulk Hogan, because I feel like it'd be quite easy now. I think he's not in the
So
best
would it be modern day Hulk Hogan or would it be
current Hulk
current
Hogan?
Hulk Hogan?
No, it's got to be someone at their peak.
Easy
man.
win.
It can't be
Easy
like-
win for Liam Hunter.
Just,
You know, that's a
just take him out
status.
by the legs.
That's a good. You could even be looking at getting signed for the biggest leagues there with that win, and it's against someone who's probably not in his ripest state, I guess. No disrespect to Hulk Hogan.
I'm fairly sure he is
He's already
ripe
great.
at this point. It's like a prune.
Okay, but if I may, like, if we could ask that question in a slightly different way. So, I mean, like, if you could face anyone, any wrestler
In
from
their
history,
prime.
in their prime, yeah, who would that be? Who would you face in their prime?
Hurricane.
Hurricane's a good answer, but I would probably have to go for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean,
Really?
a good answer, but
Yeah.
going back to what Nelson's just said, facing someone in their prime. I mean, I don't want to come off as offensive here, but we haven't really seen prime Leon Hunter yet. Your record is less than flawless, unfortunately. Are we to see more from you? With your MMA background, fantastic. Wrestling, no, not so great. We've seen hints of brilliance from you, but obviously when you come to your prime, it's going to be fairly scary.
I kind of entered this wrestling world with no guidance. You see some people who've come into Fusion Pro and come into these other companies. They come straight under the umbrella of someone like Dick Chambers or some kind of management. You had Brian Stone working alongside the very experienced Mason Toombs. You have Jack Thorne working alongside Pastor Everett Teague, who's been a force in Fusion Pro since the first day, really. You have Creeper, Dougie Matthews, Ashton Lover, who've all benefited from Dick Chambers. You see Jake Chambers, and who's Leon Hunter had this whole time. He tagged with Golden Bee in the Royal Rumble, and that was an absolute fail, I guess you could say. And that's really been it until Harley Hudson came along, and I've learned a lot from Harley Hudson. The tricks of the trade that she's learned. She's won titles over the country, and she came in, and people might point flaws in her record as well, but at the end of the day, we worked together and we outsmarted the smartest man in wrestling, supposedly. So there's a lot of things to come from Leon Hunter. You had Pastor Everett Teague on recently, and he was saying how I was the toughest match of his career.
That's
That's a huge compliment.
Step to Creeper and ask who the toughest match of his career was.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
you
so
took Creeper to the limits in both of your matches.
we-
Like I said, we haven't seen you reach your full potential. And like I said, when you do, it's going to be scary. But it's just a case of learning, and applying your craft that you've learned over the years.
It's time for people to invest in Leon Hunter because the stock just keeps rising.
Oh, possible T-shirt there.
Possible T-shirt.
So going back onto your match versus Creeper, we mentioned, how you took Creeper to the limits, but Josh from Conway's asked, how did you feel when Dick Chambers essentially stole that win from you in Holyhead? Possibly the biggest stage of for your entire wrestling career. You know, you've been put up against Creeper, the unpinned, unsubmitted, you know, monster. You had him down. You had him down for the 3 count, and Dick Chambers, you know, ruined that for you. He took that win from you. You know, how do you feel about
this match? This match was never actually meant to happen. The original thought behind this was for me and Harley Hudson to face off against Creeper and Dick Chambers in a tag team match, and Dick Chambers pulled out, and unfortunately Harley Hudson couldn't make it. So the match was shifted, and you know, I think a lot of people really thought it was going to be a massacre. You've got a 7-foot giant like Creeper who's been on an unstoppable tear against the guy who has won one match due to a low blow from Mr. Chi. So yeah, you know, you really were looking at a mismatch, but I've come into a new stage of my career. You know, I'm at a better stage of fitness, a better stage of training. You know, I've got Pequena Loco, Ryan Hart training me. I've got Ryan Lloyd now, who's also helping me out. Harley Hudson's giving me some tactical advice within the ring, as it's a different environment to what I'm used to. And you know, as in regards to the whole match, it was totally even. The toughest match I've had in my career, aside from the one where I went through a table afterwards with him. But up to that point, the toughest match that I had in my career, but also my best display that I've had in my career. And you know, if you know, Creeper at the moment is we're not sure what's going to happen in the future with Fusion Pro, but at the moment he stands as #1 contender. And really, I look back at Dick Chambers pulling him out, and I think, couldn't that be me? Could that not be me who went on to win the Rumble? Because there would have been no need for a rematch with Creeper with a definitive result. In fact, I bet you that they would have hit him.
He did throw you off the stage, didn't he?
So, yeah, well, exactly. So, and if I had not gone through a table on that Rumble night, I think I could have won it. But, you know, we both went through brutish feuds. You know, there's between me and Creeper, I guess there's a battle-born respect, even though we're not fans of each other. We know each other's abilities now. We're very well versed with each other. And
limits.
Yeah, and you know, I see Creeper as the #1 contender for the grand title, and Dick Chambers cheated him to that, and it was at my expense. So,
in a way that probably make you feel like a joke. No offense.
Yeah, well, there's no forgetting, there's no forgiveness. That's in my camp. There never is.
There's definitely a case to be answered there, isn't there? There's going to be some vengeance from you, I imagine.
So moving on from recent matches, we've got obviously you're a very handsome man. So John from Slammer Vestan is asking, is that your natural hair colour?
Good question from John.
Well, I've actually you know, the promotional pic, the last promotional picture I've had shows me my luscious blonde regal locks, but they've been shaved off now.
What?
I've gone for the not so slim shady, and
oh no,
and
no,
you know, it's a more serious stage of my career. You know, I'm intent on moving forward, and the looks and the mess and all the unessential stuff is being stripped back.
Wow.
And you just can see raw talent.
But not only that, I mean, the tactical advantage as well of having shorter hair. I mean, fair enough, we don't see it as much in wrestling, and it's, you know, strictly prohibited in MMA. But hair pulling can be a big thing, and obviously can turn people off.
Well, I've had that. You know, if you look back at my match at Uncivil War, me and Creeper were battling, and I was on top of him, and Creeper pulled my hair to really change the tides. And if you go back and look at the match, that's exactly what happens. And that, you know, he gets the 5 count off the referee, but it's an unfair advantage that was used against me. So as I said, we're stripping it all back. We're continuing on the total grind for absolute excellence in the camp of Leon Hunter.
It's amazing to see your commitment to excellence, that you'd be willing to sacrifice, you know, anything and everything.
Gold
yeah, not just hair, but I'm sure, like, you know, like, I'm sure there's times when you've probably been training when you couldn't make functions and you couldn't, meet people, where all those sorts of things that you've had to do to sacrifice to make sure that you're in the best place possible to contend in Fusion Pro. So it's amazing to see your evolution as a wrestler coming about.
Absolutely, Leon Hunt is as a man has never been backed within this wrestling industry. He's met constant obstacle. He has met general blockade after blockade, whether it's through management or through cheating or through, and there was times when I wanted to retire from this game.
Really?
Yeah, I came out and and Harley Hudson actually changed my mind on that. And
I remember seeing this.
This is so it all really is all engines go for excellence in professional wrestling. I've had to make a choice out of MMA and wrestling, and I think that may be what was waging my loyalty towards the sport possibly. But now I'm fully in, all in, as you'd say in a casino, and you should make your bets for me.
I love
there
it.
you go, Fusion. All in there on the dedication to wrestling. But Adam from Camervechens asked, what does your fitness regimen include? Or your regime includes? You've mentioned the sacrifices that you have had to take, but it's just more than that, isn't there? To be at your prime, in preparation for a match, whether it be before or after. As you said, you do have your little camps that you do. Where you do train with, Ry Lloyd, Reinhardt, Pequeno Loco, that our head trainer in the Fusion Pro Dojo, Win Williams.
Yeah.
It's immense. But outside of that, what are the types of things that you do to get to the peak of your, fitness?
Well, I've relaxed a lot since my MMA days. It's a very hard world, stripping back everything that you eat and really not being able to enjoy the delicacies and weight cuts and things, which I experience a lot of because I'm a sizable gentleman. But now I usually wake up around 7:30 in the morning. I eat breakfast, which is usually high in protein, bacon, sausages. Try and get eggs in there. I'll have a bit of a pre-workout and I'll go on a run early. And I'll try and do some uphill walks and things like that. That's what scientifically for bigger men, it looks after the knees a bit better, which I've had problems with. So I try and keep the walks very at a high incline, and I'll come back and I'll eat my lunch afterwards. After a bit of relaxing, and then I'll actually hit some weights, and generally get through my exercise routine. That's set out usually by my trainers, and I change on a week-to-week basis based on what we're trying to achieve. If I'm trying to cut for a certain amount of athletic ability needed for a move or something, for example, that I need to learn, we'll try and tailor my diet towards that.
Wow.
So there's a lot of complexities and science within how I function as a wrestler.
That's amazing to hear, because that's got to be one of the most scientific sort of approaches to wrestling training that I've heard of.
Well, yeah, the only things that get more scientific than my training camps are when you're actually getting the juice in you. So I guess,
yeah.
But I won't fail a drug test.
Roger from Holyhead asks, "What's your favourite food?"
My favourite food is a Sunday roast. It's the best. It's the best.
Choice.
It's the best plate of food possible. It's perfectly balanced nutrition. It's tasty.
Yeah, tasty.
As it gets. Tasty as it gets.
So what type of meat do you have on your?
I like all the varieties of meat. I'll have chicken and beef and pork,
lamb,
all of it, all of the meats, duck.
Rabbit,
wow.
Rabbit and goat.
The game meats,
People.
The very gamey
crocodile, deer.
What we were saying, because Leon, your last record is 18 stone 2. So obviously you've got you can eat. You're a big man.
Yeah, I can eat definitely. I would be dead otherwise.
Yes,
absolutely.
please make sure you keep eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't stop eating.
Yeah, no, I would be dead. I advocate eating.
I reckon you could eat a whole cow, just one cow, just slam
Like
it on
Desperate
the
Dan.
of you.
Well, I would eat
Pies.
even the hooves. I don't
Even
know if
everything.
Yeah.
you know, them hooves have been standing in cow pats and.
Mm. What
I'm
about
not,
Did
I'm
you
not
eat?
really about that, to be
Do you
honest.
eat the udders?
Do I eat
Yeah, there's
the
a
udders?
delicacy.
The udders.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna.
milk steak.
Out of possible risk of my career, I'm gonna say no comment on that one.
Oh,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Fair enough.
It's a
So-
fascinating insight into your dietary. Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
Well, I mean, we've spoke about now like your diet and your training regimen, and you know, you said how you have to go for walks to try and avoid injuries to your knees and such, and you know, you have been injured in the past. We saw that you did tear your ACL back in unforeseen consequences, was it?
Yeah. And
I
then
mean,
I went on to wrestle Super 8
Yeah,
with a torn ACL.
an absolute devastating injury, and for you to carry on through that injury. But again, you know, you recovered quite quickly, to be fair. I mean, you were back in training, you know, within a couple of weeks, and that just shows testament to your camp and, you know, your fitness regimen and your diet and everything like that.
You know, people saw me out at Schoenberg Showface with a knee brace on, and I was actually attacked by a mysterious man on that day.
Well, I was going to ask about this.
Well, go on then. Give me a question. Maybe. I
was going to ask. So have you got a name for this man that, you know, has attacked you?
Yeah. I actually know a man who knows a man. I know Mason Toombs, and he knows who this assailant was. I don't know if I can legally come out and say it. You know, I don't want to be defaming anyone's character or career here. So I'm not going to come out and say it, but I know who it is, and if I see them on the scene, I'll be after them.
Wow.
Oof. He's on your back, whoever you are.
Is there any chance of perhaps, organising some sort of match? I don't know. Maybe contacting.
You know, I would absolutely love a match with this guy, because I know that he's proficient in professional wrestling. He's a grappler. He's a tactician. He's clever, very clever. You know, he's got a great ring IQ. But I work with some of the best in the country to get me to tip-top shape for these matches now. I have a new set of tactics, new rules under my belt as to where I'm willing to go for victories.
Well, that's why it was so scary, because like we knew nothing about this man. Like, we weren't sure if he was a wrestler or he just came out of nowhere and got you.
Well, you know, he made a statement, and anyone who makes a statement intends to follow up usually. And I'm waiting for that follow up.
Mm.
Oh, right.
That's fascinating to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just say my name, Sam? It wasn't me. If that's what you're implying, I'm not one for stepping into the ring. I'll leave that to the
was it
wrestlers.
you? Was it you?
No, definitely
It
not.
was.
No.
It was actually Nelson.
You'd see me waddling over.
Yeah,
It was
I know who it is, guys. Don't worry. I know who it is.
So, I mean, we've seen now that you've had, you know, a number of matches under your belt, and your performances have been improving. And this is just a question from me now, rather than, you know, questions from the fans. And I really want to know what it's going to take for you to be able to elevate yourself to the next level. You know, would it be a title match possibly? Would it be something that can, you know, just bring your name out there a bit more? Because obviously you are in the background, unfortunately. You know, you are getting overseen by the likes of, you know, Dougie Matthews, that, you know, recently had a title shot, who hasn't necessarily had the best of records either. You know, you've got Ashton Lover, who was given title match after title match after title match, and, you know, continually failing on that front. And now you've got the likes of Anarchy knocking at the door for Brian Stone.
Yeah.
You know, what's it going to take for Leon Hunter to put his name out there?
Well, you know, with this whole COVID situation that we've got going on, I feel like this is a good opportunity for there to be a hard reset at Fusion Pro. By hard reset, I don't really know what I mean, but I guess I mean a reset in the power rankings, a reset in who will be top dog. You know, we're gonna, you know, a lot of people will have deteriorated, will have improved, will have changed, will have had a mental shift. Plenty of people are changing for better or for worse because of this pandemic, and you know, going back into Fusion, I would love a title match, but I don't believe I deserve one yet. You know, I need to be trusted. First of all, I need to get out there, and I need to be trusted to have the matches, put on my performances, and go out there, because I've been held back by the establishment such as Dick Chambers. You know, I'm trying, and every time I seem to prove myself to him, you know, I got rewarded with seeing someone else get a certain match. You know, but I'm a man who has, you know, unofficially pinned the number one contenders for the Grand Champion. So, well, like we say, you know, I could have not pinned him, for example, and Creeper always knew that was going to happen, so we can't say it's certain. But I'm pretty confident. You know, Nelson, yourself, you called it a travesty and a disgrace on commentary.
Which it was.
Really, my career has been riddled with corruption and greed from these establishment.
I have to say, I mean,
these establishment leaders, I guess. I want to make a good word.
I think it's a matter of time till we see Leon Hunter really stepping forward, because there's nothing stopping you physically in terms of your wrestling ability. It's just, you know, as soon as you get the opportunity to take a title shot and to really push yourself in that environment, I think it's just a matter of time. You know, everyone fully knows Leon Hunter can go, and you know, we've seen you in the ring, we've seen you growing, you know, as a professional wrestler, and we've seen you bring your MMA style into Fusion Pro, which is unique in Fusion Pro. You know, so we don't have anyone else who brings that same thing. So I really think it's a matter of time until we see you know, some real fireworks.
You know, to answer the question properly, I guess I would like to have a match against someone who I guess you would foresee as someone above me in the power rankings, someone such as Jay Sally, someone such as Chaos, AJ Hughes, maybe Pastor Everett Teague.
All of those would be cracking matches, you know.
I would love to have a go at these guys and really show what I'm worth, because I know that I can make my mark, and I know that I can win gold in this promotion 100%.
Very good answer there. Thank you. So that begs the question as well. You know, you've mentioned that you are the one to unofficially pin the number one contender for the Grand Championship. You know, Pequeno Loco, not only Grand Championship now and the Grand Champion, but Grand Slam winner.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about
of all time in Fusion Pro?
He is, you know, it's undisputed at this point that
it is undisputed, absolutely.
You know, his records go way back. You know, he's a mentor figure in the locker room.
You know, the amount of careers that Pequeno Loco has now touched, whether it's in a small on a small level or on a big scale such as mine, where he's practically training me. You know, he's always done it with decency and respect and honor, and he's always tried to uphold the traditions and the goodwill that his generations before him have also done in Mexico and things. So it's good. It's really good to see such a gracious, I guess, leader of the Fusion Pro locker room. You know, the trainees look up to him. We saw Chaos obviously betray Pequeno Loco, and I wouldn't mind, you know, showing Chaos a thing or two about what honor actually is, and maybe kicking some down him.
Wow.
So that begs the question then. You know, you clearly have respect for Pequeno Loco as a champion, you know, and as a person as well. But would that be a roadblock, or, you know, in between you to get to the Grand Championship, would you ever challenge him for it?
I would absolutely challenge for it. If someone put the contract down on the table tomorrow, I'd sign it. Yeah, and I would have the utmost respect for him as a champion. But I think there's a reason why I'm not let into the ring with these people with all the belts.
Fair enough.
Well,
I mean,
you mentioned Chaos earlier betraying Pequeno Loco. So that begs the question. Obviously, we've got a brilliant tag division. Such as Anarchy, the House of Teague. Obviously, the Resistance we've not really seen in tag team action, but
no, we haven't.
Would that be something you're open to? You and Harley Hudson.
Me and Harley Hudson were a single count away from toppling the Chambers Empire and the whole illusion that it upholds. That they are the top dogs in this company. That they are not to be messed with. That they cannot be defeated. That they are on a non-stop just roll. We've watched Creeper lose to Harley Hudson. Whether the means were fair or not is up for dispute, of course.
Yeah.
But that was thanks to me and Harley Hudson coming up with a plan, outsmarting Dick Chambers. So the illusion of Dick Chambers being the smartest man in wrestling is no longer there. In fact, Leon Hunter and Harley Hudson are true masterminds, I guess you could say. I hope we can tag. We always talk about tagging. We've helped each other out quite a lot. I don't see why we shouldn't tag. I would love to take on the division with Harley Hudson, and but there are demands for me as a singles competitor as well.
Yeah, as is her.
But we exactly as with Harley. We both have demands as singles competitors, and our long-term futures and both our interests. So you see people in Anarchy wrestle their singles matches. It shouldn't be a problem. We got on extremely well. We work together, and she has my protection, and I have hers. I guess we have a very good relationship.
I'm sure all of us would love to see you two in the actual tag division, because you've got.
Well, it'd be groundbreaking, to be honest. I don't think anything like that's ever been seen.
No, exactly. I don't think we've ever had a mixed tag team in a tag team division. You've got teams like Tombstone, teams like Distinction, teams like Anarchy, teams like House of Teague, all these wonderful teams, and we've seen with Anarchy and the Super Knee Smash Bros and the Creed, House of Teague, all this, they've produced some of the best matches in Fusion Pro history.
Absolutely.
So just to see tag team wrestling is on another scale to singles, but
absolutely,
in a way, can also
it's a completely different tactical game. You need to conserve your energy a lot better in a tag team match. You never know when you're going to have to spring in to try and break up a cover or try and help your partner.
You've also got eyes in the back of your head for that.
Yes, exactly. We don't live in a perfect world, unfortunately. Many of the competitors in Fusion Pro cheat without any kind of consequence due to the poor management of Dick Chambers. And it's a shame to see. So you have to have your eyes in the back of your head, and it's made even harder when there's 2 or 3 or 4 people in front of you. It's just as simple as that.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been fascinating to hear what Leon's had to say, and I hope our fans listening have enjoyed having their questions answered by him.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for making the time, and we know there's so much to come from Leon Hunter, athletic royalty. Leon Hunter, it's going to be brilliant. And when Fusion Pro returns, there's so much to look forward to. Sorry, what was that?
The suplex assist.
The suplex assist. Oh my lord.
Okay. I'm putting down the challenge now. Church of Teague, you can meet me whenever we're back. You can meet me in a ring, and I will exercise your demons, my friends.
Oh wow. Okay, he's throwing down.
A massive challenge there, but could we potentially see a 9? No, is it 9? Yeah, 9 people, 1 ring. 3 tag teams. No, I'm thinking wrong. My maths, Nelly, is awful.
Come on,
it's almost like It's almost like the 6-man tag, or was it the 3-man tag? I can't remember. 6 men,
6 people. In the
6 people in a ring.
6 things.
Leon Hunter, Harley Hudson, Church of Teague, and Anarchy. Number 1 contenders match. I'd love to see it.
Oh,
That would be
wow.
absolutely
We're talking dream match stuff now. We're talking, absolute sort of once in a lifetime sort of match that.
Throw whatever you want at me. I'll take it.
Fantastic.
100%. I am full on. Leap it if you need. Balls to the wall. I am going for it. I am gunning for those titles. I'm gunning for every win possible. There is not a man on the roster that can stop me. Just wait.
And this is why Fusion Pro is one of the most exciting wrestling companies in Britain, if not the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the sensational Leon Hunter, the suplexicist, thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of the sensational Sam Owens, Only Flipping Owen Roberts, I'm Chocolate Paint Nelson right here. Check us out on FusionProWrestling.com. We're all over social media, and we'll hopefully catch you around. Thank you.